Welcome, everybody. Let's hear some news from this week. Homeless man was arrested with fentanyl at Spanish Springs Town Square. Welcome to a retirement community. An officer was on patrol at about 1:30 a.m. Saturday when he spotted a man on a bicycle without proper lighting near Margarita Republic, once again, according to an arrest report from the Lady Lake Police Department. The K9 unit arrived on the scene and a dog alerted on a backpack carried by the bicyclist identified as 41-year-old Ryan Leclerc. The backpack contained a bottle which held 4 grams of fentanyl. Leclerc claimed he found the bottle. Vermont native was arrested on a felony charge of possession of a controlled substance. He was booked at Lake County Jail on a $2,000 bond. Drugs. And no, I don't feel sorry for him. I'll put myself out there. It's a life choice. They made it. I don't feel sorry for him. A 72-year-old villager was being held without bond following his weekend arrest on a warrant charging him with felony attempted murder. George Albert Hatchie of the village of Della Vista North was being held at the Sumter County Detention Center following his arrest by Sumter County Sheriff's deputies. The Sumter County warrant was issued this past Thursday. Specific information about the warrant was under seal at the Sumter County's clerk office. Hatchie's wife filed for divorce on August 29th. Yeah, part of that report is he attacked her with a knife, I think, and stabbed her several times trying to kill her. And his reason for that was he said that his wife had ruined his life. David Wallace III, 29 of Summerfield, was driving in the wee hours Saturday morning on U.S. Highway 27 at 441 when an officer ran his license plate and discovered the vehicle's registered owner had a suspended driver's license. According to the arrest report from the Lady Lake Police Department, a traffic stop was initiated near the Boone Gate on the historic side of the Villages. During the traffic stop, the officer found that Wallace has 2 previous convictions of driving while license suspended, one in 2014 and the other in 2015. His license was suspended again this past June. Wallace was arrested on a felony charge of driving while license suspended. He was booked at the Lake County Jail and released after posting a $2,000 bond. Don't you find this ironic that these people keep getting arrested 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times for not having a driver's license? And if they don't have a driver's license, it makes me wonder. They have car insurance that's required by law. And when it's a felony charge, I assume, still can't vote, right? You're a felon. You can't vote. You can't possess a gun or be around a gun or anything like that. So I just don't get the idea of what these young whippersnappers is going through their head. A drunk driving suspect with an empty vodka bottle in his vehicle told Sumter County Sheriff's deputies, "You know I'm hammered." Well, nothing like admitting guilt, I guess. Dispatch had received a report of a suspicious vehicle last week during Hurricane Ian in the area of County Road 216 and US 301 in Wildwood. When a deputy found the blue Honda CRV 58-year-old Richard Robert of Summerfield was reclined in the driver's seat. When the deputy asked why he was pulled on the side of the road, explained he was just trying to sober up. An empty bottle of vodka was spotted on the floorboard of the vehicle, according to the arrest report. He struggled through field sobriety tests, and he pointed to the deputy and said, "You know I'm hammered." I'm sure the deputy responded by, "I appreciate your honesty." He provided breath samples that registered .220 and .221 blood alcohol content. Yes, I'd say you were hammered. He was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $500 bond. A woman was arrested in an alleged attack of her mother-in-law in the Villages. Officer responded Saturday to a home on Chula Court in the village of El Cortez after 58-year-old Deborah Ursherwood dug her fingernails into her mother-in-law's skin. Ursherwood's husband came to his mother's defense, but his wife fought back and aggressively bit down on his left forearm above the wrist area. The mother-in-law suffered a bleeding cut on the right elbow and a small cut on the lower tricep area above her her elbow. Hersheywood's husband showed police an apparent bite mark on his forearm. Hersheywood was arrested on a felony charge of battery on a person over the age of 65 and a misdemeanor charge of domestic battery. She was taken into custody and booked at the Lake County Jail on a $3,000 bond. Hersheywood had previously been arrested in 2016 after allegedly threatening her husband with a butcher knife. In 2017, her husband was arrested and she was hospitalized after a battle over a bottle of Bacardi rum. Well, if you're going to fight over booze, you might as well fight over good booze. The guy says, I sure wouldn't fight over bad booze. An 18-year-old who lives in the Oxford Oaks development has been arrested after allegedly having sex with an underage girl he met at the village's charter school. Terrence Kelvin Kennedy Jr. was arrested Monday by Wildwood police on a charge of lewd and lascivious battery of a victim between the ages of 12 and 16. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $10,000 bond. The reason why I'm reading this report about this kid is because people are coming here in a family park, buying homes, and they're working for the villages, which gives them rights to use the village's charter school for their children. And even though it's probably a safe school and a very good school, I just see here that kids are kids, things happen, and even though this boy doesn't even live here, this is what happens. And I just want you to know that just because we're so-called bubble doesn't mean a thing. A special magistrate has approved a zoning change to pave the way for high-density housing development in Wildwood. The zoning change for Commander's Point won the approval of Special Magistrate Lindsay C.T. Colt in a hearing Tuesday afternoon at Wildwood City Hall. She gave the project a favorable recommendation, which will be passed on to the Wildwood City Commission. Commander's Point will be located on 47.47 acres south of East County Road 466 and west of County Road 209. The owner of Acorn Investments LLC, which is headed by Joe Nisbet, who serves as vice chairman of the Sumter Landing Community Development District Board of Supervisors. Ironic. Information presented before the special magistrate indicated the housing development would add 179 students to Wildwood schools. It would also produce 795 daily automobile trips along East County Road 466 and County Road 209. Hammock Oaks builder wants to expedite Rolling Acres Road improvements. Rolling Acres Road is a big problem. It's becoming a bigger problem. Months ago, a lady was hit by a car, and as far as I know, nobody was ever arrested for the hit and run there either. They're still looking for it. If I remember right, it's a Jeep. Saw it on the news. And I do know this week, I haven't reported it yet, but I will when I get to it. There was a semi-truck that overturned on Rolling Acres Road, spilling fuel everywhere, and the road was closed for a long time, creating a huge backup. Because on Rolling Acres Road is where one of the Lady Lake schools is at. It wasn't a good deal. It wasn't good at all. The builder behind the enormous project is eager to expedite improvements to Rolling Acres Road. Greg Bellevue of LPG Urban Regional Planners told the Lady Lake Commission on Monday that the developer of the Hammock Oaks project is ready to front money for a study that could expedite the expansions of Rolling Acres Road. Coulters is eager to develop hundreds of acres of tranquil pasture land between Cherry Lake Road, Lake Ella Road, and Rolling Acres Road. The company plans to begin building within 18 months. Bellevue is representing Coulter on the Hammock Oaks project. However, traffic concerns have dodged the project. Rolling Acres Road is already so overburdened with traffic that it has been declared a failing road. Bellevue indicated the Hammock Oaks project, as well as others on the local drawing board, could prove to be recession-proof. He said there is a ravenous appetite for workforce housing within the vicinity of the villages. In addition, Hurricane Ian prompted many Floridians to forsake life on the coast and move inland to Central Florida. We see it after every hurricane, Bellevue said. And it is true, we do. Here's what typically happens. Hurricane hits an area. People that bought there years ago. It's devastating. People maybe lived there for years. This is their third, fourth, fifth hurricane. It's devastating. They decide that's it. We can't do it anymore. They pack up and they move out. Property in that area goes down to rock bottom, as you can imagine. Investors come in. We saw this during a hurricane in Punta Gorda. Sue and I, we actually sat in a restaurant, and the booth behind me, we were turning our ears this way, listening to them talk back there about buying homes that nobody wanted. Insurance had declared the homes uninhabitable, and so they were selling them for nickels on the dollar. They were buying them. Years later, that property is 10 times worth what they paid for it because it's close to the coast, blah, blah, blah. People forgot about that hurricane. Our memories in America is like this long. It really is for most people. And it's a generational thing. What one generation remembers in their lifetime, the new generation comes along, they don't know anything about it. And so they don't have that knowledge of what to do and what not to do this. They go in there and they look for property that people don't want anymore, and they buy it for pennies on the dollar. Clean it up. Hang on to it for a while. Things get straightened up a little bit. They may build something. They may not. They may just put the land up for sale. They walk away usually making a pretty healthy profit. To the editor. This letter is associated with the letter POA unveils its endorsements in race for Florida House article. Ash Marwa is running against Republican John Temple. Per the public records, the Temple campaign for the August 2022 primary spent $152,000 to get Temple on the November ballot. As of September 23rd, 2022, his campaign has only spent $2,200 on the November election. Temple has ties to the Villages Incorporated, but his ties are not as apparent as Brett Haig's. Few people out there don't know the association between Brett Haig and the Villages developer. You really need to educate yourself because there's something rotten in the campfire right there. Is the Temple campaign assuming that all the registered Republicans who vote in the November election will automatically vote for Temple without any research? Which candidate will place the interest of the majority of the voters over the interest of the Villages Incorporated? That's sent in by John Pastura from the village of Belvedere. I only have one remark to say. I've said it before 100 times. Villages is a good old boy system. If you don't know what that is, once again, Google it. I've been in the town. I was part of a good old boy system. If you're on the inside, it's very good. If you're on the outside, you go, what the heck's going on? That's the way it works. Follow the money. That's my answer. Follow the money, and that'll be your answer. Here's another letter to the editor. To the editor, it looks like a kiddie park, a big waste of our money. Did our elected officials know the width before signing off on it? I can see all the villagers tripping and falling when they try to walk next to a spouse or friend on the curbing. I'm not sure the next step is to widen it at another $2 million. If you fall on a path, I hope they try to sue the officials that okayed the path. Vote all of them out for this mess. That's sent in by Joseph Gehring, the village of Duval. Well, Joe, I'm only going to say when Sue and I went by there and I already did a video on it, you're right. I told Sue, I said, I can just see two fat guys falling off the path trying to pass each other on walking path. But that's what they voted for. That's what they agreed upon. The plans was submitted to them to be, 6 feet wide, I think? And that's what they got, 6 feet wide, including the curbing. So you can't point your fingers at the person that put the path in. You have to point your finger to the people that actually said, oh, that's okay, and we'll pay them $1 million. And in this case, you say it's the supervisors. I'll take your word for it. If the supervisors voted this in, you guys elected your supervisors, so it's you and your supervisor's problem. A village offending woman has completed anger management after attacking a fellow villager at a postal station. Roberta Ann Kirby, 68, has completed 12 hours of anger management and 40 hours of community service as part of the deal aimed at allowing her to escape prosecution on a charge of battery. She was arrested August 15th in an attack on a man who was picking up his mail at the Sugar Cane postal station. He said Kirby came across the parking lot screaming obscenities. According to the rescue department of Wildwood Police Department, Kirby pushed him, inflicting a cut on his arm. Last month, Kirby completed anger management through the North American Learning Institute. She also fulfilled 40 hours of community service requirement at the Bargains and Blessings thrift shop in Wildwood. In fact, she received rave reviews for her work, according to an evaluation form. Roberta was extremely helpful and a joy to have working with us. A representative of the thrift shop wrote in an evaluation, Kirby's duties included assisting with donations, organizing items, and assisting customers. She was very professional and courteous, the evaluator added. She completed her community service this past Monday. In 2019, Kirby placed a 911 call and reported that her 64-year-old husband shot himself inside their residence on Woodstock Way. The case was investigated as a suicide. 1 of 4 baby boomers don't trust the younger generation to use their inheritance wisely, according to the national survey by professional services firm Progeny. Additionally, nearly half, 48%, of baby boomers say the attitudes and priorities of younger generations affect their decision-making around transferring wealth to the next generation. The research report, Planning to Pass It On, conducted by YouGov for Progeny, aimed to uncover national attitudes around gifting or leaving money as an inheritance and polled 3 generations for their views. The majority of respondents said they intend to pass on something to the next generations of their family, with 60% planning to do so. However, of those aiming to provide financial support or inheritance to loved ones, the majority question, 49%, didn't know beyond that how they might do it. Fewer than 47% of baby boomers were confident about making plans or taking financial decisions after transferring wealth and a third, 32%, said they were not confident. Around the same proportion of Generation X and millennials, 45%, were confident about making use of any received inheritance versus 39% who said they were not confident. However, 1/5 of respondents stated that they didn't want to pass on a significant sum to many of their loved ones. Nearly half of those questioned, 49%, felt it was more important to use their money to enjoy life to the fullest than to leave an inheritance. Cost of living concerns. There was clear evidence of the impact of the cost of living crisis in the immediate financial goals of the survey respondents. The highest proportion, 45%, said that ensuring they meet regular financial commitments with their top financial goal, followed by 35% who want to have enough cash in case of emergencies and 29% who are focused on saving enough to enjoy retirement. At the top of their list of financial concerns or challenges was the increase in the cost of living, followed by their anxieties over not saving enough and not having enough for emergencies. I can relate. A Summerfield sex offender was jailed after knocking out a man's oxygen hose during an alleged attack. Gordon Gridley, 52, was arrested on a felony charge of battery after allegedly attacking the man who is completely dependent on an oxygen intake hose and has a colostomy bag, according to the arrest report. When deputies arrived on the scene Monday, they found the man had suffered 2 lacerations on his right forearm, which were actively bleeding. A woman who witnessed the attack said Gridley had pushed the other man to the ground. Gridley claimed the other man lost his balance. He was taken into custody and booked at Marion County Jail on a $5,000 bond. Gridley had been convicted in 2002 in Oklahoma on charges of rape by instrumentation and lewd molestation. He was sentenced to 6 years in prison. Sounds like a real winner. Letters to the editor. My daughter and I snuck in a walk at the Lake Miona walking trail before she flew home. It is 0.66 long and wide enough for 2 walkers, just a little narrower than a sidewalk. When cleaned of debris, it will be a lovely stroll, or with its soft finish, a heart-pumping walk. Continue on the path around Lake Miona Center and you have a good distance. That's sent in by Peggy Carley, Village of Sable Chase. Well, I guess it just depends on how big you are. If you got 2 people walking one direction and 2 people meeting you from the other direction, somebody's getting off the sidewalk. And to me, a walking path is not a sidewalk. I'm just saying. A driver with a 9mm gun tucked between his seat and the center console was arrested at the Wawa convenience store in Oxford. Did you ever notice how many arrests there are at this Wawa store up here on 301? What is it, a criminal hangout place or what? A Sumter County Sheriff's deputy was at the Wawa at County Road 466 and 301 at about 6 a.m. Thursday when he spotted a white 2021 Volkswagen Jetta in the parking lot. The deputy detected the odor of burnt marijuana coming from the vehicle. The driver was identified as 23-year-old Christian Alexander Meskel of Wildwood, and he admitted he did not have a medical marijuana card, according to the arrest report. A search of the vehicle turned up a glass jar, which held a green leafy substance determined to be marijuana. The Taurus 9mm gun with the magazine was found tucked between the vehicle's center console and the driver's seat. The firearm was concealed so that only the grip of the firearm was exposed and had no retention holster encasing the firearm. Weskel said he did not possess a concealed carry permit. He was arrested on a felony charge of carrying a concealed weapon and a misdemeanor charge of possession of marijuana. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $4,000 bond. A parade celebrating the diversity of heritage in the villages will take place at Spanish Springs Town Square. The parade will step off at 3:15 p.m. Friday, October 7th, and will feature numerous groups from the villages. Well, it's already passed, but it's something that happens here. And for those of you that don't live here, I'm just going to read this kind of thing for you, just give you kind of a small idea of some of the things that happen. The parade will be followed by the Heritage Festival, which will feature live music and food. The event will feature a passport challenge. Participants who collect at least 4 stamps will receive a collectible limited edition commemorative Heritage Festival pin. A driver escaped serious injury when he rolled his truck Friday morning on Rolling Acres Road near Lady Lake. The 2023 Ford F Super Duty was traveling at 10:21 a.m. on Rolling Acres Road near Lake Ella Road when the truck jackknifed. The driver was 22-year-old Leesburg man who remained at the scene after the crash. Lake County Fire and Rescue Engine 52 and Engine 56 responded to the scene. 2.5 gallons of gasoline spilled from a generator in a truck it was carrying. The Florida Highway Patrol investigated the accident, which shut down traffic for a few hours. Rolling Acres Road has been under greater scrutiny as the Hammock Oaks development and other projects on the pasture land between Rolling Acres Road and Lake Ella Road, County Road 466 and Cherry Lake Road, are expected to become home to 4,000 people within the next few years. It was revealed this week that the Hammock Oaks developer is willing to front money for a study which would be the first step toward the expansion of Rolling Acres Road. The road's a problem. Truthfully, the development all around the villages is really becoming an issue. You see hearing these wrecks every day, it seems like, anymore. People getting hit and killed. Is this what you expected in a retirement community? I ask you. An elderly woman has died after she was hit by a pickup truck at a shopping plaza in the villages. The 76-year-old Wildwood woman was walking shortly before noon Thursday in a parking lot of the Marathon gas station at Lake Deaton Plaza. That's where the lady run into Sue and totaled her car out. And she was struck by a pickup truck driver driven by a 58-year-old Orlando man, according to the accident report from the Florida Highway Patrol. The driver failed to see the woman before striking her. The woman was transported by ambulance to a local hospital where she died of injuries suffered when she was hit by the pickup truck. Most minor accidents happen in a parking lot, generally speaking, a shopping center. Be very careful when you're in a golf cart or car around here and you're out running around. During snowbird season, be extra careful. A man and a woman were arrested after a law enforcement officer spotted what appeared to be suspicious activity at a gas station, convenience store on the historic side of the villages. That would be the Circle K. The officer was watching this past Tuesday night as 44-year-old Jason Mellick Herring of Summerfield parked at the Circle K and got out of the driver's side of the vehicle. He walked away from the car and returned to reach under the seat multiple times. Herring proceeded to the rear of the car and began to move items around in the trunk. Toby Nicole Calloway, 31 of Ocala, got behind the wheel and drove away with Herring in the passenger seat. Due to suspicious activity and the fact that the check of the license plate revealed the vehicle's registered owner has a suspended driver's license, the officer initiated a traffic stop at U.S. Highway 27-441 at the Wales Plaza gate on the historic side of the villages. A canine unit was summoned and the dog alerted on the vehicle. The container which held 6 methamphetamine pills was found under the driver's seat along with a syringe which contained a liquid identified as methamphetamine. The officer confirmed that Herring has a suspended license. Herring said he knew he would get in trouble for driving, and he said that's why he wanted to do the right thing and asked Calloway to drive. Herring admitted he saw the officer watching him. Calloway was also found in possession of methamphetamine. Both were taken into custody and booked at the Lake County Jail. So I knew I was going to get in trouble for not having a driver's license. Repairs are taking place at a site of a sinking manhole in the village of Dunedin. The manhole on Newport Path experienced a gradual caving in or subsidence event, according to the village's district office. Subsidence is usually caused by traffic, loose soil, and groundwater, which has weakened the joints to the point of failure, leading to the sinking of the manhole. In this case, the manhole has sunk approximately 2.5 feet, the district said in a release. Repair actions are currently underway, as well as geological analysis and chemical grout to stabilize the soil surrounding the manhole before it is removed and replaced. This happens once in a while. The pipes under the ground that we see, we're on the sandy soil. Everywhere here's a sandy soil. And where they put these pipes together, there's a joint. And over a period of time, those pipes can move. Traffic on the top kind of packs the sand down, which maybe it will move the pipe just a little bit and just enough to where water will start seeping out the sides or the bottom or the top or wherever. And where the water washes out, it washes the sand away slowly but surely. And then, of course, the ground above it starts to sink in. Usually, this happens in a fairly new area. A villager's golf cart was snatched Friday from Publix at Magnolia Plaza. The matte black and blue Yamaha golf cart was stolen sometime between 5 and 9 p.m. while it was parked at the grocery store by a villager who works at Publix. The two-seater golf cart has blue pinstripe seats and gray around the roof. The Village of Monarch Grove woman who drove the golf cart to the store indicated it was her husband's golf cart. She walked out into the parking lot and discovered it was missing. The theft has been reported to the Wildwood Police Department. The annual blessing of animals at Hope Lutheran Church in the Villages took place on Saturday morning with Pastor John Mark McLean officiating the services. Dozens of dogs, 2 goats, 2 cats were blessed at the event. Pastor McLean led the congregation in prayer before a general blessing of the assembled animals. He followed up with an individual blessing for those who made the special requests. They have this blessing of animals every year, maybe more than once. I don't know that, but I know at least once a year they have that blessing of animals up there. And people show up, not necessarily from the villages, people show up from anywhere really, and they can take their animals in there to be blessed. An official is urging villagers to offer their opinion about a proposed cap on amenity fees in Florida's friendliest hometown. The Amenity Authority Committee will discuss a deferral rate cap at its meeting set for 9 a.m. Wednesday, October the 12th at Savannah Center. 2010, the AAC established an amenity fee deferral rate cap of $155 per month. In 2019, the AAC, working arm in arm with the project-wide advisory committee, removed the deferral cap. The AAC oversees amenities north of County Road 466, and PWAC does the same south of County Road 466. In recent months, AAC members have acknowledged that with inflation and other economic pressures, many residents living on a fixed income may be feeling squeezed. Tell me about it. AAC Don Deacon said, there are 2 questions under consideration. Should the AAC set a cap for monthly amenity fees? If so, what should the rate be? $179, $185, $195, or $200? Is that our multiple choice? I think it ought to be $179.95. That makes about as much sense to me. Deacon noted that residents below the deferral rate cap would continue to see adjustments until their amenity fees reach the deferral cap. Deacon pointed out that no one has free access to the village's amenity facilities. Legally, you should open your eyes. People sneak in here all the time. And how do you know? Because Rohan won't check IDs. He won't make sure that somebody checks IDs all the time. All homeowners in the villages pay amenity fees 12 months a year, whether the home is occupied or not, including those on the historic side, Freedom Point, Snowbirds, and rental properties. Renters pay the amenity fee through their rental payments to the homeowner. How it actually works if you're a resident and you rent your home out, like a lot of people do. What he's talking about here is the developer built a bunch of apartment houses and stuff, and so they pay the amenity fees through their monthly rental that they pay. But if I was to rent my house out, here's how it's supposed to go. I'm not saying it goes this way because I've seen a lot of things advertised that to me I don't agree with, but it's none of my business. I decided to rent my house out, say, for 3 months, January, February, March. That's the 3 big money months. I'm going to take off. I have to go to Spanish Springs. Now, you might be able to do this at some other place too, but I just know Spanish Springs is where I always went. You go to Spanish Springs in there, I got to fill out a paper. And on that paper, it asks who's going to be renting my house for January, February, and March. If you got 3 different people for each month, then you have to do it for each person. But I always rented it out for 3 months to one person, or I wouldn't rent it out. So I got to put their name, what day are they going to arrive, and what day are they going to leave. And I have to have their information too, like their home address and phone numbers if they got it and stuff like that. You fill it out. It's not a big deal. It's just a short little form. With that, when I turn it in up there, I have to give my resident card to them also, and Sue's resident card, both of them. We have to turn them in. Now, my resident rights will be transferred over to the renter once they check in. Now, they're going to charge $50 for that transferring fee. I always paid that because, I always felt like if they're going to pay this kind of money to rent my home, I'm not cheaping out here and saying, well, you got to pay me another $50. That's just greed. That's all that boils down to is just greed. I know some of these corporations down here do that. I know that there are some people out there that I don't know where they come from. I don't know how they were raised, but all I know, there are some people out there that are just as greedy, if not more. But anyway, I always paid the $50. So all the people had to do is go up there, sign the paper, and they give them their temporary resident passes for the 3 months. Now, once they've got those 3 month resident passes, temporary passes, I have no rights here at all, period. As a property owner, I've signed all my rights to those people and I'm done. And that's how it's supposed to work. Now, does everybody do it that way? I got a feeling that the answer to that is no. Everybody doesn't do it that way, but they should. I think that's going to end the news for this month. Don't leave your keys in the golf cart!